Hello everyone, my name is Alicia Jade and welcome back to the Get Me Off podcast.
You okay?
I'm just so done with today.
It'll get better. You're fine.
Right, now we're over that ordeal.
Okay. We can start.
Blimmin' heck. Right, now we've got through that ordeal.
Yes, you've made it.
How are you?
I'm very good, thank you, darling. How are you?
We'll see.
Today will only get better. Don't worry.
Oh, 3 people have said that already today.
You'll be fine. That's fine.
Right, so welcome to the podcast. Hello everyone and welcome to another episode of the Get Me Off podcast.
Hello.
Slightly alternative today because so far couldn't get into the building for an hour and my camera's broken out of nowhere. So yeah, this is interesting, but we're gonna go with it. We're gonna go with it.
We'll be fine.
So welcome.
Hello.
How are you? This is Hayley, everybody.
Hello, everybody.
So who are you and what do you do? Just to tell us a little bit about you.
So I am Hayley and I am a laser technician, which doesn't sound too glamorous, but a laser and aesthetic practitioner, I should say, but more on the beauty side rather than medical. And I've been doing it for 20 years in October, so it's been a long time, over half my life.
Wow.
And recently it's becoming a much bigger thing. The industry has just boomed in the last, probably since COVID. So it's on the forefront at the moment with what we do. So that is me.
Why do you think necessarily since COVID? Or is that just like maybe not relevant?
No, I do think COVID is relevant. I think that COVID obviously was an awful situation for many reasons, but for a lot of businesses, and especially my industry, the beauty industry, which suffered hugely to start with, but if you were self-employed, there were all sorts of grants and things that were coming around. So a lot of people financially benefited quite a bit, which then gave them the opportunity to train in things that they may not have done before, but also the industry's changed more recently with who is able to do these sorts of treatments.
Yeah.
And England is certainly one of the most unregulated countries in the world. So I think a lot of people have got this money and they've gone, do you know what, I'm going to spend it on doing a Zoom training course and become a laser technician and
that's terrifying
yes,
though. Like as somebody
terrifying.
that goes and gets treatments, that's terrifying that someone just could have done like a quick course.
Yeah.
I mean, I get mine done by a doctor,
Yeah.
someone who you've worked with many
Yes.
times. But I just can't like...
It is terrifying, and I don't want to. I don't want to make it sound bad for the girls that have gone and spent a lot of money and a lot of time on training that are non-medic, because there are a lot of practitioners out there that are absolutely fabulous at what they do and don't necessarily have a PhD or a nurse's background. And I've worked with many fabulous doctors and nurses, but I have also worked with some that aren't so good. So it's not to poo-poo their names, but there is certainly a terrifying amount of people that are doing this unregulated and using unregulated products and not being trained properly, that are doing a 3-hour Zoom training call and buying lasers, for example, from China. And with what I do, I can blind you like that. I can cause burns, severe burns, and which can lead to sepsis and obviously in the extreme results,
sepsis
right?
to me just means die.
Yeah, so and that is an extremity, and hopefully that won't happen, but the increase of bad incidents is unbelievable. And the government has recently put in place that we are going to be more regulated, albeit that will take a fair few years to come into place. But unfortunately, the people that that's going to affect are the middle ground people, like myself, that are properly qualified, have invested a lot of money in training, have been doing it for this amount of time, but there's still a black market for it. And I don't think that's ever going to go away now, because I just don't think there's means to clamp down on it.
I just think it's so dangerous because most people potentially wouldn't do a lot of research into it or understand how to research into it and to know like who they're going to, but they're the ones that are going to get hurt.
I think take away from the aesthetics, more injectable sides, really I can't have too much of a comment on that. Mine is laser. So if we look at that a little bit more, it's scary because I take it for granted that people kind of know what I'm talking about. I've been doing it so long that they come in, they have their consultation, and you forget the ins and outs of it. There's so much science to it, and it took me not just months of training, just years of experience. Even 2 weeks ago, I've had a girl that burned, and I have no idea why. Medically, she shouldn't have done. She's had the treatment multiple times. The machine is to point. There's no rhyme or reason for it, but it still happens. And fortunately, I know how to manage it because of my experience. So it's when you get girls that will burn someone, because that will happen, because we're seeing a lot of people and it's inevitable. It's a laser, you can burn with wax. They need to know how to then deal with it, because otherwise the risks are going to be tremendous, and it's horrible because no one, I believe, wants to go out there and be performing these treatments and causing harm.
Especially for the people going as well. You don't want to be trying to do something to make yourself feel better and then end up in a situation where actually you're physically hurt.
Absolutely. And a lot of women that are coming, not just women, gentlemen, trans clients that are coming for treatment, they're not just coming from a vanity cosmetic point of view.
Yeah.
A lot of women and men and trans people that I see, they're coming from a medical point of view, whether they suffer with PCOS and they have a beard at the age of 19, or whether they are transgendering from male to female and they've got body hair that they want to deal with. It isn't just, oh, do you know what, I fancy my legs being hair free because I can't be bothered to shave them in the morning.
It's a very personal thing.
Absolutely. It's a very, very personal thing. And then to put someone in the situation where you could have potentially scarred them is horrifying. So it's not just a beauty treatment. And I think since COVID, the availability is definitely more, and it's not being taken as seriously as it used to be.
Yes.
I don't know at what point the rules changed, but they have changed.
And I guess the whole sort of support small business and stuff like that is maybe playing into it a little bit.
Of course it is. I think that everybody wants to support local people, and that's absolutely fabulous. And for me, it's wonderful. You know, my business has boomed. I've been able to go off on my own, but I am privileged with the experience that I've got. And I'm privileged with my network and the support because of that. I think going off and doing it completely on my own without that, I would never have been able to have done. Saying that, I've come from corporate, that's where I've started off, nationwide clinics. At the time, as I said, this was 20 years ago, they were brilliant. You know, I worked in the UK's leading laser clinic, and it was owned by medical experts. But it quite quickly got bought out by salespeople. And nowadays, there's a place for your high street, high-end clinic, but actually the turnaround of staff, the level of training
is not as good.
No way is it as good as what I used to have. I mean, the training that I had when I started was constant. It was thorough. I had the best nurses. I had the best doctors. Nowadays, the girls are trained in a day, off they go, and the machines that they're using are fabulous.
But they're so powerful, I'm guessing.
They're because they're so powerful, they're taught to err on the side of caution, to avoid risks and burns and things happening, but then the clients aren't getting the end result. So I'm also seeing an influx of patients that are coming from high-end clinics that have said, hang on a minute, I've had 12, 14, 16 treatments.
And nothing's happened.
And still, nothing's happened, and I've spent a lot of money. But they are using candela, they are using cynosure, they're using the best machine. So hang on, what's going on here? And it's not just about, I mean, you could give me the keys to a Ferrari, it doesn't mean I'm going to know how to drive it, right? It's not just about that.
That's so true.
It is so true. And
it's not the equipment, it's the talent.
It's the talent. I don't want to say it's the talent because I don't know how talented I am as a person. It's certainly the experience, though. And
so in terms of what people come to you, I know you mentioned it's not necessarily all female and it's not necessarily just for like quote beauty treatments. Yes. Who are the kind of people that you get coming to you, and like what are the treatments for? Because a lot of people would say that laser hair removal is like a vanity thing.
Yeah. Majority, I'd say 80% of my clients are female. 20% male or trans. Trans is becoming much more popular. It's becoming a much more available treatment. So I think whereas 20 years ago when we started, the cost of it was a lot more, it's now becoming, the prices have come down, so it's making it more available to everybody. But previously, it was really only available for rich people or women that had serious health concerns. So I see a lot of women, and you know yourself, like we battle so much with our hormones.
Oh, yeah.
And our hormones have such a huge impact on our skin and our hair growth and our weight and things like that. So a huge percentage of my clients suffer with PCOS, for example, polycystic ovary syndrome, which means that it unbalances their hormones. And one of the very first patients that I treated, I was 19 years old, so I had qualified, I'd had my experience, and I was taking on my own clients. And this lady, I remember her name, her face, everything to this day, because I could just relate to her so much. She was a Canadian girl. She was 19, the same age as me, quite religious, married, which really isn't important, but she was different to me, but she was my age. She was 19, and she come in and she said she couldn't look me in the eye. And that, you see that a lot with women who have facial hair. They cover their faces a lot when they talk.
Because that's what they're used to, maybe.
They won't kiss you on the cheek. They won't come close to give you a hug or anything because they're so aware of their face. And she couldn't look me in the eye. And she said, I shave my face at 5 a.m. in the morning. I wake up before my husband. And I shave again at 5 p.m. before he gets back from work.
Wow.
And visually, you know, I'm sat this close to her. I could see already that she had quite a heavy shadow. I could see that she had heavy hair growth on her face. And she had tried IPL, she had tried electrolysis, which are both different types of hair removal systems, and they hadn't worked. And I just remember thinking, my God, you're my age. You know, I look at myself in the mirror of a Saturday before I'm going to go out and I think, oh, I look really fat in this outfit, or my hair isn't quite blonde enough, or my, you know, whatever, these menial things that aren't that big of a concern really. When you're a 19-year-old young girl and you have to shave twice a day because you're so ashamed of your hair growth.
That's heartbreaking, isn't it? And although you have all these campaigns of people saying like love your body the way it is and all of this kind of stuff, there is always going to be things that people feel subconsciously uncomfortable about, and there are always going to be like that, whether that's your preference or not. Like, yes, it would be great to have a world where anyone can have hair wherever they want, but that doesn't necessarily mean everybody wants hair in all of these different places.
No. Society tells you it's wrong, you know, society says that, and I'm all for body positivity. I follow a few ladies that are very body positive about their hair growth, which I think is great. But personally, if it makes you feel uncomfortable, then everyone has the entitlement to change it, right? But it isn't just, I'm happy to grow my underarm hair because it's natural.
Yeah.
This is a hormonal medical concern.
And it also points to other things as well, which is... Yeah.
It affects your skin, you know, if you're shaving twice a day on your face and that's giving you shaving rash, that's giving you dry skin, you're getting ingrowing hairs where
it affects her sleep because she's getting up.
Massively. And the fact that you can't give your husband or your friend a kiss on the cheek or you're covering your face it's horrifying. And I remember just feeling for this woman and thinking, my God, I hope this works for you, because it was new to me at the time. So I didn't know myself, you know, I didn't know myself. And I remember seeing her for a review after her last treatment, and it had reduced it by at least 80%. And
wow.
Amazing. And she still had hair growth on her face, which maybe you or I would be aware of, but for her,
it was nothing
life-changing.
Yeah.
And the women that I see, I say to my clients upon consultation, this will change your life, whether you're having it done for vanity or whether you're having it done for PCOS or transing or menopausal hair growth on your chest. This will change your life after the first treatment. And it's as simple as that. What I do hurts. It's not an enjoyable thing to come and have done. You're not going...
Yeah, I know.
No.
I think my safe word was pineapple.
There was a definite safe word
and
there.
There's a video of me somewhere having mine ages ago, and I'm like, pineapple.
Yes, exactly. And, it's not enjoyable.
I can't even, say the word.
It's that bad. And it is uncomfortable. You're sat there with a complete stranger. Quite often you've got your knickers off, your legs open, and I'm coming at you to do something that's going to hurt, right? But you come back. You come back because it is remarkable.
Yeah.
It's absolutely life-changing. And that, for me, it gives me so much joy. One of my clients recently sent me a photo of herself with her daughter on holiday. Selfie, she's like, I've got no makeup on and I haven't had to shave in 2 weeks. And for her, and that's what I just love it. I genuinely love everything I do with it because it is life-changing for people. I've dealt with a lot of, it's not just hair removal that we do sort of tattoo removal is another thing, all sorts of things laser, but a lot of vascular treatments, birthmarks and things like that, and that can be quite a big deal for a lot of people as well, because facially, if you've got a great big birthmark and you're ashamed to go out because of it, it's horrible how people perceive themselves. And I think nowadays with Instagram and TikTok and social media, it's a lot about vanity and perfection. We strive for this level of perfection.
Oh yeah, 100%. 1 second.
You go ahead.
So when it comes to doing the treatments and people feeling uncomfortable and things like that, what are your tips for people going in? What can they expect? So if someone's listening to this and going, actually, I have this for a self-confidence reason or a vanity reason or anything, and I'd really like to talk to her about it, but I'm, like you say, really shy, maybe not very self-confident. What are your tips for what people can expect?
It's really difficult to give you a tip because you are coming in and you're pretty much taking your knickers
going through pain.
Yeah, and going through pain. But trust us, there's just no judgment there. I think to be in this industry, you've got to be a certain kind of person. So we never come for the consultation. You don't need to commit. There's no obligation. Go and talk to somebody about it. Find out more information. They'll always put your mind at ease. You don't need to sit there with your knickers off or anything. You just need to go and have a chat. And then I think naturally you get that vibe from somebody, right? You're either going to feel comfortable or you're going to feel uncomfortable.
Yeah.
And we're very good. Anyone in this industry is very, very good at putting you at ease. From our point of view in the clinic that we're at, there's 3 girls there, including myself. And I think because I've been doing it such a long time, everyone will call me the aggressive practitioner. You're in, you're out, you're done. Some people like that.
That's like with me when I come in and I'm terrified and you're like, nope, let's just get on with it, put your arm up.
And I just literally almost guide you through it and don't give you much of a choice. And I talk the whole way through it.
Yes.
Because I think, right, I'm going to try and take your mind off of it. You might be something like this and holding your breath. But I'm trying to talk you out of it and take your mind off it a little bit. Whereas Rosella, one of the girls that I've got working for me, she's very prim and proper. She's very professional. She's very gentle. There'll be a bit of chit chat, but she doesn't really sit there and talk a lot. And some people do prefer that.
It's good to have a range as well, because it's like when you go to the hairdressers. I saw something it was like a meme or something on Instagram the other day, and it was it was an article in the Sunday Times in one of the papers, and it was a journalist, and he said, my barber's left the barber shop and now I can't get my hair cut, because he was saying he is used to this person where he goes in, he cuts it, there's no chit chat, and he's out in 15 minutes.
Yeah.
And everybody else that he's tried will sit there and talk to him and stuff like that, which is great, but it's not what he wants. So to have those different types of people in one clinic is amazing.
Yeah, I mean, we're creatures of habit as well, right? You've got your routine, you like to see the same person.
Yes.
It will throw somebody if they go from me to somebody else. And we do try to stop that from happening. Sometimes you can't.
Yeah.
But when you are in a vulnerable, and I say it, you are in a vulnerable situation, you want to know what's going to be happening, right? And we've all got our little quirks and our little ways about us, but I think that being in this industry, you are that kind of a person. So I think 9 times out of 10, you'll feel at ease with that. Don't ever go into it expecting it to not be uncomfortable. I'm seeing this a lot, pain-free laser, and I think, what a load of... it's painful to be beautiful, right? Everything we do to ourselves hurts, whether it's putting needles in your face or brushing my daughter's hair and the knots out, right?
Goodness.
From that age, that is pain.
Yeah, and heels. Heels are pain.
Absolutely,
but we love them.
Pain. Spanks, they are painful. You probably have to deal with that, but we do, and they are painful. And we put ourselves through it.
Yeah.
And I do like to not scare my clients, that's the wrong word, but I like to prepare people for it.
Almost, I guess, so that it's not as bad as what they think it's going to be.
I sit down and I'm going through science with you, and I'm going through the burns with you. I'm going through the worst case scenarios with you, because I want you to be fully prepared for anything that can happen. And I am making it sound scary. You know, you're not going in for surgery. It takes 15 minutes, you're in and you're out. But I just want you to be prepared for the worst. So that doesn't happen, and you're like, okay, this is good. And you come back, and as I said, after the first one, it sells itself.
And I know you have a younger daughter. How old is she?
She's 11, nearly 12.
So that kind of age, I'm guessing, is the sort of age where you start to think about this kind of stuff, and you start to think about beauty treatments and your body and everything like that. How do you feel about, because obviously you work in it, so it would be very difficult for you to turn around and say, well, no, you're not allowed to do anything. And I remember when I was younger, I wasn't allowed to shave my legs. And I will never forget this. It was awful. I got bullied so badly that me and the 2 or 3 bullies were made to stay behind after the class and got detention because they were taunting me, basically. And it's that kind of age where you begin to think about these things. And these are things that affect you for life. How do you feel about her getting these treatments and this kind of stuff?
It's really difficult because I'm overexposed to these sorts of things. So to me, they're very normal. And sometimes I need to take a step back and remember that I'm mummy as well. She's not my friend, I'm mummy. But she's recently started senior school. And
that's the worst.
Isn't it?
God, it's the worst.
I didn't enjoy it. It's a hard time, and I just wanted to prep her for everything, which I should have waited really for her to have come to me and asked. But I thought, God, if I can protect her from...
And also if she's too scared to come and ask.
Yeah. She's dark like her daddy, so she's not like me. So I'm looking at her legs from the age of whatever, and I'm noticing that she's got hairy legs, and I've noticed that now she's gone through puberty, and she's got hairy underarms, and I'm like, you need to get rid of that. And I said to her, Mummy will laser you, which is a bit controversial because most clinics won't laser anyone under the age of 18.
Yes.
But I have worked in hospitals with children.
And it's also your daughter.
It's my daughter, yeah.
So it is your choice.
Yeah, and the way that we treat children is slightly different. So as much as it is an uncomfortable treatment, we work differently to make it more comfortable. So she's been lasered. She has been lasered, yeah. Because I waxed her before she started senior school. That's not enjoyable. She didn't like it. And she didn't want to have it done again. She went to senior school, she had PE, she got picked on. Mummy, can I shave my legs?
Yeah. That's the same as me, it was PE.
Exactly, shorts, right,
Yeah.
with boys.
Yeah. Mine was girls.
Oh, the girls are even worse.
Yeah, mine was
Girls
girls.
are even worse. And most of the time when I see women, when we're doing things to impress people, to change ourselves, it's
other
not
women.
for men, it's for what other women think.
Yeah.
And what we look like on social media.
I know, it's funny when men are like, oh, she does all this, this and this, and I'm like, oh, this is not for you, babe.
Honey. No, it's not for you. I've started lasering her, and I think, well, medically there's no risk. A lot of people get questioned about the risk of cancer and stuff. There isn't any, and I wouldn't do that if there was. But I think she never has to deal with shaving rash. She never has to deal with ingrowing hairs.
Yeah.
We'll just get rid of this, and that's fine. When it comes to her coming to me and asking for lip fillers and Botox, I don't know what I'm going to say. I do know what I'm going to say because I've been having
You
them
done. No.
Yeah. Well, I've been having them done myself since I was 19 because I've worked in the industry.
Do what I say, not what I do.
Exactly. And I think it will be you're going to a certain person, and that will be Xavier, Dr. Xavier.
Yes.
First of all, and it will be subtle. I can't say no. I can't be that hypocrite. I can't do that. I think she'll be shocked, and I think when it comes to it, she might change her mind. All I can do is educate her, and I'm very grateful that I've got the knowledge to be able to do that.
And to say don't go with the trends and advise on things like that. Because the thing, like even about social media, the worst thing is when people don't have any idea about it and tell people it's bad, when actually a bit of education on the subject, like a bit of education on, like there's so many people that say like, oh, Botox is so bad because it gives you duck lips.
Yeah,
I'm like, well, you don't know what Botox is.
You're not putting it in the lips, are you?
No, exactly.
I see that all the time. Look at the amount of Botox that woman's had in her lips, and I think, oh, for God's sake, you've got no idea what you're talking about.
Exactly.
I think I can only educate, and that's something that is good. I wouldn't stop her. She came to me the other day and said, Mummy, can I have my belly button pierced? And I was like, yeah. And then I thought, hang on. And she was shocked. She was shocked that I said yes, because she was expecting a point blank no. And then I took a step back and I was like, well, actually, maybe you should wait till you're a teenager.
Yeah.
I think that's... But
it's allowing them to make their own choices and giving them the free space to do things. Because if everything is just an immediate no, you're going to do things to be a rebel. And that's what I did as a teen, I guess, because everything was just no, constantly. So I was just like, okay, well, I'm going to do it anyway, or I'm going to do something else, or I'm going to do this, and it'll be rebellious, and that kind of thing. And then I probably made much worse choices.
She was absolutely gobsmacked that I said yes. And to be perfectly honest...
She probably won't get it done now.
No, and she didn't want it done after that. And as soon as I said yes, I thought, oh, hang on a minute, I think you've reacted too quickly, Hayley. You maybe shouldn't have said yes straight away, but I didn't see the problem in it. Now I thought maybe she's a bit too young. And then she straight away was like, oh, yeah, I don't really want to. So she was looking for that shock value from me. She was looking for me to say no, for her to have that. And she's going to do that. Teenagers do that. They push boundaries, right?
But it's how to do that safely is the important thing.
And I am a strong believer in, if you are really unhappy with something, change it. We have got the options to do so now. But when I was a 14-year-old girl, I wanted breast implants. Yeah. It was the fashion. Kate Moss, skinny, round boobs, that's what I wanted. I never did it. It wasn't available to me at the time, and I'm glad that I didn't do that now. Yeah. But the scary thing is it is more available now for much younger women. Yes. Being in the job that I'm in, I see 30 naked women a day. Yeah. Ranging from the age of 18 to mid-60s, 70s, and the increase in young girls having surgery is scary. And I'm not against it. I am all for it, but there's more to it. You are changing your body. Yeah. There needs to be a support network round girls choosing to have surgery. Girls and boys, I should say boys too. It can't be, I'm nipping over to Turkey for a week and I'm going to pay £2,000 to have a full body makeover.
The Turkey thing is just crazy, isn't it?
There's place for it. They're not the worst surgeons in the world, but consultation is there for a reason. You can't have a FaceTime consultation and make that decision. No. You shouldn't be flying post-surgery. No. Health-wise, you shouldn't be flying post-surgery. And... I've got an 18-year-old girl who's had a labiaplasty, and she doesn't need a labiaplasty. Yeah. And she's had a labiaplasty for one reason, because of the access to porn that she has now in comparison to maybe when I was 20. And I said to her...
And the amount of comparison.
Exactly. And I said to her, darling... I promise you, no man is looking at you that intently. They are not going to say no.
They don't care.
They're not going to... And that's exactly what
Sorry, guys, but you don't care.
No, they don't care. And that upsets me because I don't believe that she's done it for herself. If my daughter comes to me at the age of 18 and says, Mummy, I want a labiaplasty, I'm going to go, right, let Mummy have a look. First of all, we'll see what's going on here. Yeah. But, if she comes to me at 30 and she's had a child and she's unhappy, she goes, Mum, I want a labiaplasty, I'm peeing myself all the time. Absolutely. If she's flat-chested and that upsets her and she wants her boobs done, I'll be there for her.
That was me.
Be there for her.
And my mum was there for me,
Yeah.
although she didn't agree with it. She was there for me. And it is something, like, I don't ever regret doing it. This was 10 years ago, so it was nowhere near the class of surgery that it is now. But yeah, I'm always glad that I got it done.
I don't want to see my baby go under anaesthetic. I don't want to see my baby do anything to herself that is going to hurt herself or put her through pain. But if she's that desperately unhappy about something, then I will support her with it. I'll be scared, but I will support her with it, absolutely. And I think that's the other thing that worries me is the option is so easy now that I've got lots of young girls that are doing it without telling their parents even. And maybe they don't have such a good relationship with their parents. And it's surgery still, so it's scary, but I would be horrified if my daughter did that. So I just hope that I can educate her.
I think that's the biggest thing is education, isn't it? And we could talk about this for hours because we did at one of my appointments and then we were like, oh my God, we actually we're supposed to be here for something. But if people want to find out more information, if they want to contact you, if they want to ask you questions, see your page, where can they find you?
Oh my God.
So here you go. This is the self-plug moment.
Hayley_Alan_Laser is my Instagram.
Which I will also leave linked anyway.
I have no idea about my Facebook, but you can always drop us an email. And I think with this, people do feel a little bit aware. So there is me on the end of the Instagram 90% of the time, but sometimes the girls are dealing with it. So if it's a message that you want to deal with because there's, I don't know, you've got genital herpes and you want to have a Hollywood laser done and you don't want to tell the whole clinic about that, then just say, Hayley, can I have a word? And someone will always get back to you.
Yeah.
And it will be me that will get back to you if it's specifically me that you want to speak to.
Yeah.
Obviously, we've got Rich at the clinic now as well, and he's a guy and he's dealing with 80% women. So some women aren't going to be comfortable saying, I'm on my period, can I still have my treatment? Even though he's very open to it.
Yeah.
Right? But yeah, so someone will always be there if you need something a bit more personal.
Amazing. Thank you so much for joining me. And thank you for getting through this ordeal of the morning or the afternoon or whatever it is. I don't even know anymore.
It's fine. We'll chill.
One of those days. Thank you so much. And I hope you guys found that episode interesting. And I will see you again in the next one.
Yes. Thank you.
Thanks. Bye.